Hey everyone, this is our second podcast, and I am Seth Holler, CEO.
And I am Logan Maxwell, wearer of many hats.
And we're here today to talk to you about a subject that we hear about a lot from our customers. It's what they perceive as a high cost of using ultra-wideband systems for real-time location.
True.
Logan, do you kind of want to set the stage of what you hear out in the field as you talk to different customers?
Yeah, sure. I think if you're educated about the systems and educated about real-time location systems, RTLS as it's often abbreviated, you will come up time and time again as, when I see UWB, ultra-wideband, and I see those historically deployed, they're going to be considered more expensive, usually total cost of ownership, more complicated, more cumbersome is often the word used. And so we have devised some ways to make this system, and I should say Seth has devised many ways to make this system more affordable and easier to use. And we just want to highlight essentially those. We'll start with deploying.
Right. So this webinar is the first part of a series. Maybe it's going to be a series of two, or maybe a series of three. We'll see where that goes.
I think there's many spokes on this wheel, so we shall see.
So installation. Let's imagine what it's like as you, someone who has some sort of charge in the manufacturing facilities with improving process or finding goods that have been lost, and you want to install a system, and you know that installing the system takes multiple items. It's like, I have to do the actual installation. That means I have to get a team together, either inside or out, and then beyond that, there's software maintenance. And then does the company, RTLS company that I'm bringing on board, do they do that, or do we do it ourselves? And so there's costs that can potentially add up, and there's timeline as well.
Yeah, I think traditionally these sorts of projects are seen as large, difficult projects. And that in many cases is true. A lot of putting in RTLS means a very rigorous survey. And when they say survey, they mean it, right? So that can mean people literally walking around with LiDAR scanners, lasers in their backpacks, taking days on end in order to even just get to the point of doing a survey. Backing it up even further, there's whole discovery sessions about what your plan is and the processes in relation. And so some of the things that we put in this system is just starting with the survey process. Ours is, we'd like to call it just a walk. It's really just a site walk. And you'll find that...
So from WISER, when they say, hey, we're going to come in and do a site walk or a site survey, are you talking about 5 people, 6 people coming in,
right,
a whole team, or give us some scope so that it has some indication for how much it costs?
And so I know exactly. And so driving it back to cost, instead of taking a discovery session and multiple weeks of a rigorous survey with a team, traditionally, most all sites take about a day or less. A very large site might take 2 days. And usually it's just going to be one WISER representative that does that site walk. And by and large, it's...
So one. Not 6.
Yes, one person.
Not 5.
Correct.
But one person.
Correct.
For a week, for a day, for...
Yeah, and that's going to depend on the facility. But by and large, most small and medium-sized manufacturing facilities are going to be a day or less, sometimes just a half day.
Okay.
And then large campuses, talking about million square feet under roofs, probably going to be 2 to 3 days.
Okay. So from the point of view of, say, the customer, it's like paying for one person to go out and create a service.
Yeah, it's order of magnitude.
For a day.
Less, yeah. Order of magnitude's less.
Okay. So there's that element of it. So what other aspects of, and that's just the very beginning, but what other aspects of installation are we talking about in terms of, say, the costs that people have to be aware of?
Yes. So in that same vein, there's traditionally services or paid amounts of money that go into calibrating, aiming, tuning, changing antennas, and a lot of times...
So that's not the WISER system per se. You're talking about...
Just any RTLS system, right? Anything that you put in, there's all the... Hey, a lot of times that company is having to go in, send again a team of people to go in, adjust, change, and tune things. And that's another place where we've really tried to cut out a lot of the additional services fee. Is we're just going to take it, put it in a box, ship it to the site.
Well, that's a good question now. Like, who is doing the installation? If you're just shipping it out, is it the company doing the installation, or is it the RTLS services company that's sending out an army of people to do the installation?
WISER has found in practice it's cheaper and more efficient for everybody to have the facilities and maintenance or the trusted third-party wiring contractor of the site do it. So those aren't services that need to be paid to WISER. We'll ship that box out. They'll see the map that we made from our one-day walk, and they'll follow that map and stick them up.
So, important point here, right, is you don't need highly trained individuals to come out and precisely place the hardware.
Right.
It could be the facilities services people. It doesn't have to have, what do you call it, the electrician, the certified electrician come out and do it.
It's all low voltage, and they're all algorithmically built and to be as omnidirectional as possible. So none of these need to be tuned or aimed. In contrast
the
to
hardware, the antennas
themselves, exactly.
So if it's here, if it says here on the site plan, but it's really like over here in this orientation, it doesn't matter?
Exactly. It does not matter. So there's a big difference in that level of cost and cumbersomeness of the system is that if the installer can't get a bucket lift all the way to the column, it's okay to put it 10 feet further north, south, east, or west, even 10 feet further down. They don't all have to be on the same height. They don't all have to be on a perfect grid. You're going to follow a macro level map of where the antennas go and stick them up. And it's going to be, we've gotten AV equipment guys to do it before. They don't need to be tuned or aimed, which means you don't need to have an RF skill set to do it, and that cuts a lot of time and services out of the total cost of these types of systems.
Great. Well, let's end this first series of podcasts here, and then we'll jump back a little later. So thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks.